not supposed to be a drumbeat. This is supposed to be, kids are supposed to have a way of, supposed to be able to walk to school and not be scared that they are going to get jumped and shot. And they shouldn't have to buy a gun to make them feel safe. And so while the shootings in Aurora and Newtown and other mass shootings are really tragic events, at the same time we have tragic events going on every single day in Memphis. And so that's what Memphis Gun Down is trying to do through social media campaigns and other commercial appeal articles, is get a backing behind something that does go on every day and kind of bring it to light and not just say, oh, that's just something that happens in Memphis.
Go ahead. Real quick, one thing that I've heard criticisms of these sorts of programs. I mean, I think they're really great that they exist, and I hope they work as well as they can. But kind of jumping actually off of Natalie's question in a slightly different direction. To what extent are these trying to address the sort of structural factors that create poverty and crime? I love things like this, but if what the purpose of this is to sort of stop personal behavior in areas with high poverty, in areas with crumbling institutions and infrastructures, that seems to me to only have a limited effectiveness. So are there any things that this program is doing or that you'd like to see them doing to sort of rebuild that social contract in an institutional way as well? I mean, is there any effort going on to put some sort of structural weight behind this too?
Well, to kind of address the first part of your question, a lot of people do kind of have that opinion, oh, well, we're not going to be able to reduce gun violence without looking at education, or without looking at poverty, or without looking at the social structure of many of the problems within our city. The problem is people have been trying to address these issues for so many years, and kids are still dying. And so what David Kennedy did in Boston in 1996 was say, look, we're trying to fix these problems, but kids are still dying. We need to do something about this right now to reduce these numbers. And so while Memphis Gun Down is not looking at as much as reducing poverty or reducing homelessness or fixing the education system, it is saying we have a problem. We're going to try to do what we can with the resources we have to go in and reduce these numbers right now. And so so while they're doing that, I mean, this is a 3-year grant. Hopefully this will, what I would like to see happen is that this would be sustainable, unlike other plans that have happened in Memphis that have started off and gotten, oh, this is going to be real great. Funding goes away, they fall off the face of the earth, and the crime goes right back up. And so what I would like to see is I would like to see this sustained, and I would like to see really Memphis take this and make it its own and really get behind it, like Chicago has done with Cure Violence in its city, and other cities have gotten Boston with Operation Ceasefire, and Memphis to not just get programs that have worked in other cities and try them here, but to get these programs, mold them to Memphis, and then really take this off the ground and roll with it.
You really emphasize a community relational, mission for this, and so I was kind of wanting to learn more about how do you have any, recommendations for how it's going to come off? Because you said you would really like the Gun Down to to give them your paper and be like, this is how it is. So in your paper, do you offer any solutions with because it sounds like you've talked to a lot of people in the community. So how did you get this feedback and they're not, where is that gap coming in, and do you see a way to bridge that gap and get the community more involved?
That was definitely the conclusion of my paper, kind of looking at the fundamental breakdown of communication. And then when I didn't get to talk as much about Thomas Hobbes as I wanted to, but one of his fundamental beliefs is that people are naturally self-interested. So what I looked at is that Memphis Gun Down is trying desperately to increase the communication between the city law enforcement and the community. But the problem is you've got naturally flawed people running this, and a community that is very distrustful, and law enforcement that has had some issues with funding and different things in the city. So you've got these 3 spheres that have kind of pulled away from each other. And so what I would like to see, I guess, with my paper given it to the innovation delivery team and other members of the community that I talk to, is that this breakdown of communication has happened because a lot of the ego within each sphere is kind of, you don't understand the community, you don't understand my problem, you don't live here, you don't know what it needs to be fixed. Law enforcement enforcement. You're not out here trying to stop the crime. You don't understand what we need. We need, you know, this, and this. And the city is trying to say, you know, we're trying to help you guys, but this is stuff that have worked in other cities, that we're going to try this out here. We've got to start somewhere. So it's this kind of breakdown of communication to where if people would kind of, I guess, give up some of that ego and really say, okay, look, we are all working towards the same goal. If we can just sit down and really, what is your opinion of this? What are you trying to do with this? And they've tried to do that. There's been community meetings, youth roundtables, but I think that there hasn't been enough of an emphasis on that. There definitely has been some, but what I would say to do is to put more of an emphasis, really make it the core of the program, to talk to the community, to the city, different officials, and really show that, hey, look, we're all trying to do the exact same thing. How do you think we need to do it? This is what I'm trying to do. Different things, which they've done, but they need to do